Hello everyone, in today's video I would like to talk about the Storm Elf topic that has been floating around the community the past couple of days, and really since the past update I would say. And a lot of people have been wondering where I stand on the whole Storm Elf thing and what my opinion is on it. In case you guys don't know, Storm has been the worst school of 5th age. This is a statistic and a fact, and we are just coming off of a year of the school being unplayable. So, Storm right now, I'd argue, is in the healthiest state it's ever been in my history of playing Wizard101. And I've seen a lot of community members actually very concerned about the upcoming elf ban. So in today's video, we're going to break down everything. So I guess to break the ice, we can start off the video with a fact. And well, that's the fact of the matter, that Storm is not an overtime school. So it should not be having an overtime as good as Storm Elf. As much as I love Storm Elf, and as much as I'm aware the school is getting carried by this card right now in the game, that is a fact. And we've seen other schools lose spells like Frostbite and Poison because they are not having anything to do with overtime identity on those schools. Now, I get comments all the time saying, Liam, but Ice and Death have Skeletal Dragon from back in 2008, 2010. I understand that, guys, but like I've said many times on the channel, Rochambeau is the new Wizard101. If you want to educate yourself with the new school identities, you can check out my video where I teach everything about every school now and how the game is designed going forward in the future. Next up, while we are looking at the elf pet right here, let's talk about how you actually get the Storm Melody Dragon. Now, to get this pet, you have to do the Voracious Void raid and pray to God that it gets dropped basically when you beat Melody. Now, this pet is really good because you get 3 Storm Elves as opposed to 2 on the other pet body. A lot of players, and I'm talking like in the hundreds, maybe in the thousands of players, farmed this raid just for this pet. Even to this day, I'm seeing community members and even a couple of my friends go out and they finally got this pet and they're making this pet. And I'm like, hey man, they're gonna ban that like within the next 6 months probably, so watch out. And it just completely kills the player's buzz, you know? So like, it's kind of sad to see, but I'm not gonna sit here and watch my friend make a whole new meta Storm Melody Dragon pet just for it to be banned in the next update or the next spring update, whatever, pretty soon, basically. I've heard some opinions floating around if the Storm Melody Dragon is gonna get banned, they should also ban other pets like the Dark Pact item card pets that like Balances and Fires use and stuff like that. I honestly wouldn't really mind that because I feel like Balances and Fires using the Dark Pact pet is a little crazy and oppressive in my opinion. But yeah, we all know Storm Elf is a ticking time bomb and it's going to be removed within the next couple of updates. Now, it will not be getting removed in the next update. Both, I think, Stormbringer and Ratbeard confirmed that, and maybe Cam. I don't know if Cam did. Okay, so next up, I want to talk about why this thing is being complained about and why some community members do not like it. But essentially, why the Storm Elf is so good is essentially just for 2 pips, the amount of damage it does and pressure you can create on a storm generally is really, really good. But to go a step further, what actually enables the Storm Elf to get so much value is actually not just the card itself, it's Catch of the Day. Now, Catch of the Day and Elf is basically the, you know, the 1-2 wombo combo, whatever, like one of the best combos in the game right now. So you'll Catch of the Day, do okay damage, and get 2 45 blades back, right? Now, typically, your opponent has to counter the blades or either kill you, right? But they're gonna have to shield because, you know, I can't eat that big of a hit against a storm, so you have to shield. But now you have a 45 bladed elf on you, which is doing quite a bit, and you're still gonna eat that big hit next round. I've seen players talk about nerfing Catch of the Day to like 1 blade or like nerfing the blade value, but that wouldn't really follow like how they designed the game. Essentially, because Catch is supposed to be on a storm. Like for example, if you look at something like Headless, right? Headless is the same functionality as Catch of the Day, but it's hit in 2 chromatic weaknesses because Death owns weaknesses. Or if you look at another spell like Ice Golem Path B, right? Ice owns shields, so they get 2 chromatic shields on their Golem. So if the community feels like Catch is too good, there's 2 ways the devs can go to address and fix the card. One, they can either nerf the blade percentage and buff up the damage on the card, or they can buff up the blade percentage and nerf the damage on the card. I think a lot of what makes Storm so good right now in the game is just the fact of the matter, and this has gone on for years, is a lot of the lower ranked people do not know how to play against a Storm or respect a Storm or like counter a Storm, you know, because throughout these years, even though, like I said, there is data to support what I say, Storm has been the worst school of 5th Age. There's still been people who will say the school is really, really good when the data says otherwise, and nobody is on like the first 10 pages of oh my god, I can't talk, the leaderboard. And at the higher ranks, 99.9% of the entire game is not going to be able to play the school to that degree or that level of skill to get the full value of it and actually, you know, play well, win, and rank up on the leaderboards. So as a result, it's been very difficult for KingSouth to balance the game because a lot of low-ranked players are crying about Storm, but they don't know how to play the game. And a lot of the high-ranked players are like, yo, the school has been asked for so long, and we know you guys can see the numbers internally. So it's kind of created this weird space where Storm has been bad for quite some time. But now, this is the first time in 5th Age where the school has actually been number 2 and number 3 at both low and high ranks, which is, you know, obviously incredible. But 1 week later, Rapbeard has actually came out with new win rates, and Storm is actually, I think, at like number 4 or number 5 right now, and Balance and Myth are on top, which is what I predicted, and a lot of the other community members also predicted. Now, what is going to happen after the elf ban? A lot of people are very confused about this and stuff. Well, elf being gone is going to make the catch combo obviously a lot worse and all, and that's going to make it so shields actually work against a Storm. Now, some things in the community I'm seeing is, oh, well, Fire Elf doesn't work, just use, or sorry, if Storm Elf doesn't work, just run Fire Elf. There's a couple of issues with that logic. Basically, Storm's base stats are so bad and the accuracy burden is so bad that you are actually unable to get accuracy to one school when other schools can get max accuracy to 2, 3, sometimes 4 schools in the meta. Right now, currently, I have the meta Storm build on. If you're a high rank player, we all use this setup because it's just the best one in the game. Sure, there are other builds you could run, like the one I have on right now, but the issue with this stuff is you're oftentimes giving up, you know, your mono school damage, all of your resist and stuff like that. When again, comparatively, the other schools do not have to do that at all. So let's take the Fire Elf example, or the shield counters are so good example, okay, right? Because a lot of people like to use that one. Well, let's say you could, you know, get max dual school accuracy in a different universe where you could actually obtain accuracy on this horrible school. Well, such shields have screwed Storms basically since the dawn of time, before Shambo even came out, and that still is a thing to this day. So, if I have a Stormblade or a Catchblade, and I Fire Elf their set shield, they will just set shield again, and if I Fire Elf again, they'll just set shield again, and my pips haven't moved, and I've done inconsequential damage because the lack of dual school support on a Storm. It's basically the same problem before the shield gambit, shield clear buff with like Minotaur, Elephant, Elf, and stuff like that. It's, they can keep doing this stuff over and over again, and they'll always gain pips to just kill you with, and you're sitting at no pips and doing nothing with your counters. Not to mention, a card like Minotaur or Elephant can just easily get countered, right? So a good example you can think of right now is like, you know, a Life Wizard, right? A Life Wizard generally is going to pack a lot of sets for Storm. It's a counter matchup, but now with Elf gone, you know, if a Storm tries to counter the shields and all, a Life can counter both the Elephant, you know, the Elf, the Minotaur, all that stuff, and actually just screw the Storm. But because they actually have damage on their counters, unlike the Storm does, because they don't have dual scroll support, they're going to end up actually losing the life matchup with the Storm Elf ban. There's a lot of other examples out there, like you could Elf lock an opponent and force them to fight you, which was actually pretty cool of an interaction, but now you can't do that anymore, right? Or Fire Golem, right? Fire Golem spam honestly might beat Storm now, and some people might say, okay, well, use Berry. Okay, well, if they Fire Golem and I Berry and they Triton the Berry, well, I'm going to lose because it's just a way better counter. So essentially, the more I talk about this and like write this out on paper and draw it and yap about it, stuff like that, is Storm is going to fall down to the, down bad depths of Ice level right now. And they're going to both be, just as bad as they have been the past year, I think, unfortunately. Unless we see some kind of compensation buff, like the dual scroll buff that Storm really, really needs for their accuracy and their damage. This is because shield spam is a very, very common and prevalent thing in the game. And when you actually look at the math behind things, like if a Storm is hitting into a shield versus like, I don't know, a balance or like a myth or something, or a death, right? Storm actually is going to do way less damage through shields, even though they have way more power and sometimes more buffs. And the devs are aware of this. They kind of want to change the functionality of like pierce and shields and resist and stuff like that. But as of right now, it screws Storm the most to hit into a shield, which obviously doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, that's everything I got to cover in the video, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments below. I think I covered every side of the community here. I want to say, I could be wrong. I'll be reading the comments, of course, and we should be expecting for the ban to happen probably winter time, maybe spring of like 2025, I would say, because Wiz is kind of slow generally, but we'll see. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and a sub if you made it this far. Thank you for watching, and take care.